All right, so goal setting. I need to share. And I have some handouts for you. One of my favorite lines is Einstein was asked one time what his own phone number was, and he looked at the phone book to look it up. He said, I never put anything up here, I find somewhere else. So that's why I post everything on my YouTube channel. So that if you don't take notes, or you don't think anything like, what did we say about such and such? You can go to my YouTube channel and watch all my videos. There's tons of them on there. So anyway, goal setting. I do this whole training called 21 Layers of Success, but hold people back, and 16 Habits of Successful People, which Stephen Covey took from me. But part of it is just doing these traits to make people successful, and goal setting is one of them. So let's go through this. All right, how big is your Woody Woofy? Woody Woofy stands for what do you want for yourself? How big is your Woody Woofy? Do you have just a standard of performance that just what you need to have to be an at-leaster? You know what an at-leaster is? At least they're not a loser. Right? There's as far as those who have employees, there's three types of employees: winners, losers, and at-leasters. At least they're not losers. They just do enough to get by. There are some people that now this has not changed this next statement. This hasn't changed in 20 years I've been a trainer. If I ask most salespeople, what's the goal? How much money do they want to make? What's the number you think most salespeople say? What's the what they like to make? Any idea?
200,000 or as much as I can.
I know, but
You'll get
there
that.
is a number that most people come up with. What's a
$200,000.
great number? What's a great amount of money to make?
200,000.
100,000. Okay. And then I say, and then what do you think the average salesperson makes? What's an at-leaster? Just to pay your bills, will it be enough money just to, 60? Who said 60? Exactly. It's 60,000 and 100,000, and that's not changed when I do this training. Most people come to that amount of money. Most salespeople, now think about it, if you're 100,000, you're in the top 1% of all wage earners. Right? Most people don't realize that. So most salespeople are just at-leasters, minimum to keep the job. Or do you have a standard of excellence that's nice to have income for recognition, security, training for the future? This is when I talk to companies about management, that when they're managing a sales team, the problem is most people are just at-leasters. They just have that minimum standard of performance. And then you have that cream of the crop that's got that standard of excellence enough to be a winner. You can't, so most people when they're hired, everybody need to hire staff? We all need to. You either hire a winner, you train a winner, or you pray. And that came from Kenneth Blanchard, 1 Minute Manager. By the way, if you have not read that book, it is the best book I can recommend. There's a whole series of 1 Minute Manager, 1 Minute Marketing, and it's like I call it bathroom reading. Put it in your bathroom, that way you'll read it every once in a while.
They are small books.
But they're small books, and it's quick, concise. But again, you either hire a winner, you train a winner, or you pray. Now, most companies think I'm going to go hire a winner. Here's the problem with that. If they're a winner, why would they come to you?
Because they're already winning. Yeah.
Right. They're already making this money. So you need to train a winner. And most companies do not have a good training program. Their onboarding process is they send somebody into the room, they watch a couple of videos, they spend a week telling you why you're so much better than the competition, and the employee thinks, well, this is important. They just spent 2 weeks telling me this. I guess I got to go regurgitate this. And they go out there and become a human brochure instead of training people from the beginning on a systematic approach to an end result. And that's all sales really is there's a start and finish to everything, but you have to have a system. If I ask most salespeople right now, describe for me on a vanity license plate your selling system, what do you think most people would say? Wing it, right? Most people can't describe for me their systematic approach to the system. And again, that's my own acronym I came up with. How big is your Woody Woofy? Is it just to be average, or is it to be top of the line? How much much you need in order to achieve your dreams, only you can decide this amount. And I get a kick out of employees all the time. I'll do a training and I'll leave to go to my car in the parking lot. Somebody else will follow me. Hey, wait, let me tell you what's really going on here. My boss just doesn't motivate me. If you need a boss to motivate you,
You're in the wrong industry.
you're probably not going to be successful in it. Right?
Yeah.
So think about it this way. We've done a little bit about flying here, and I correlate my pilot information to training. And you think about an airplane, there's a lot of people that don't like flying. They're flying, you know? It's because they don't understand how it works. How does this big thing stay up in the air? It's very simple. If basically the lift, if the lift created by the wing here, either angle of attack or the air that's going at the bottom is going faster at the top, and air's always trying to equalize, pressure's always trying to equalize. So the air at the bottom is pushing up to try and meet this air up here, and that's what creates lift. And then, so if your lift is greater than the weight, and the thrust moving you forward is greater than the drag, an airplane will fly. 4 basic principles. First question they have in flight school is, what are the 4 principles of aviation? And that is that. Now, with us, what I talk about is our behaviors is what lift us up. Are we doing the right behaviors? Are we doing the things we're supposed to do? Are you making the phone calls? Are you doing the prospecting? Are you doing the behaviors? I really believe I'm a behaviorist. My job is to change human behavior. So if somebody at the bar comes up and says, "Oh, what do you do?" I said, "I'm a behaviorist." I go, "Tell me more." And I can start that way. But again, the fear we have is a failure, right? Don't we have fear of failure? A lot of people won't try a new technique. They won't go to sales training because, well, I'm going to spend all that money and I'm not going to do it anyway. I'm not going to change. Fear of failure. But what we have to have is goals. Goals thrust us forward. We have to have goals. And the biggest problem is, I ask most people right now, do you have goals? They'll say, "Oh yeah." I go, "Where are they?" "Oh, they're in a file drawer somewhere in my desk," or whatever. Right? They don't really follow their goals, because a lot of people are afraid to set goals because they're afraid I won't reach them. That makes sense? All right. So the issue isn't setting the goal and failing to reach it. The issue is setting the goal too low and achieving it. Right? How many people set the goal low, but now they didn't strive for it? Goals point you in the right direction. That's the whole idea of having a goal. And the analogy I use is this: pilots, when they're flying, are 90% of the time off course. Because this is an air map. If you're flying somewhere, you take from this location, draw an outline, and you follow that line. You look down, and either your GPS tells you that there's a railroad track over here, there's a tower over here, and if you're doing visual flight training or flying, you can tell where you're at by looking at check marks on the ground or either on your GPS system. But 90% of the time, you're off course because the wind blows you this way, or you got to go around the storm, or you got to go around restricted air base. But you're always headed in the right direction. And the story I use, because again, those of you who've been through my training, I'm a storyteller mostly because I think we remember stories more than we do statistics. My dad and I left flying from La Crosse, Wisconsin, went up to Hayward, Wisconsin, to musky fishing. As we took off from La Crosse, it's beautiful. You see the Mississippi over here on the left and the bluffs of the Mississippi. But as we're going, we left, and there wasn't supposed to be any storms or anything. But as we take off, all of a sudden I see this mushroom cloud. Looks like an atomic bomb went off. It's a thunderstorm coming in from Minnesota, coming in from the west. Now, our airplane has only got a ceiling of about 12,000 feet. This has got thunderstorms going to 65,000. We're not going to go over. It's huge to the west, so we're not going to go that way. And if we try to go around it, we're probably going to get caught in a storm. So we radio Cessna 2908 Delta requesting immediate landing at Eau Claire. Pilot visual recording of the thunderstorm. There's nothing there. Yeah, we see it. As soon as we land and tied down, that thing hit. It was a storm that just hit. And at that time, pilots would go up the tower. So we go up the tower on the radar. It's going, boop, 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 boop. It just came out of nowhere. And so where are you going? So now we're going to go up to Hayward, Wisconsin, go fishing. Looks like that's canceled. Because you going fishing? Well, that was our intent. He goes, "My brothers have died on the Chippewa flowage, and he just had a cancellation. He'll put you up for the night. You can go fishing with him tomorrow." He had the best fishing trip we ever had because we were headed in the right direction. And that's what I want you to think about goals. Goals point you in the right direction. But a lot of people are afraid to set goals because again, if I don't reach it, then I'm a failure. So the idea of thinking about goals is most people, and the same thing, I want you to share this and share it with your employees. If you got an employee that isn't setting goals, that's probably why they're not setting goals. Because they just don't think that I'll achieve them, I'll be a failure if I don't reach them. And so set big goals and think about it like a pilot. I might not get there, but what will I accomplish along the way? So the idea of trying to think about this whole idea of talent, that's what I want you to think about. You guys set goals for your business because you're going to be headed in the right direction. Always. If your idea is to start a business so that you can help people understand technology and fill a need that somebody else is, and you might not get 100 clients this year. But if you set a goal for 100 clients and you get to 75, that's pretty good too, right? So like, we all need to think about it that way. Now, the difference though between goals and dreams. See, that's one thing. A lot of people have dreams. Like, when I was younger, I was a Cub fan. I followed the Cubs and PK Wrigley, the chewing gum, used to own the Cubs. I used to dream about if I was walking down Michigan Avenue in front of the Wrigley building, maybe PK Wrigley would hit me in his limo and I could sue him for $1 million to get the Come on, none of you dreamed about that. None of you had that fantasy about winning the lottery. That is a dream. You know, a goal is actually an active goal is goal oriented. It is attainable. It promotes action. It's reality based. All right. Where a passive dream is chance oriented. Hopefully, maybe something good will happen to me. It's whimsical. It promotes inactivity and it's fantasy based. So there's a huge difference between goals and dreams. Because I've had a lot of people who will do this training, they'll tell me, oh, here's my dream. Yeah, but is it really attainable? And again, can I and will I do the necessary activities to turn my dreams into reality? If you answer yes, then it is an active goal. If you answer no, it's just a passive dream. Right? And again, most of you guys are already great at goal setting, you're successful, whatever. I'm doing this for you to think about what you can do to go back and help somebody else, an employee or a friend. Yeah, anybody you know.
It's always good to be reminded whether you know or whether you don't.
Exactly.
Well,
So
and
I
I'm thinking
appreciate
like
it. Yeah.
your cousin, he could use this kind of training because he doesn't have any goals. He doesn't have any aspirations. He's one of these people that I call him Eeyore of the world. That everything, you know, it's not his fault. It's not my
I
fault.
have an ear friend.
Yeah.
I do.
I call
She's
him.
the victim all the
Yeah.
time, and it's always somebody else's fault. And, I need to do that.
They don't have any dreams or goals. They have dreams, but they don't have any goals.
Right.
Because again, it promotes an activity. In order to achieve your dream or goal, they must be written down. They must be visible. They must be specific, and they must be time conscious. And you've all heard the acronym SMART, right? Goals should be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time conscious, but I added enjoyable and rewarding. That's what I mean by SMART, right? That's what's smarter. And I don't know who came up with the original thing for goals, what they should be. That's the specific, not the SMART. But again, if you think about it, you've learned that failure is a bad thing, right? When we were kids, actually, my staff that I talked about before they gave me one that says failure is not an option. You ever see that slogan? Yes, it is, isn't it? Have you ever done anything in your life that was worthwhile, that were you great at it immediately?
Well, a lot of jobs, I mean, if you go to work on your car and you're trying to figure out how to get that part off or on or whatever you're trying to do, and it's not working, so you try something else, then that doesn't work, so you try something else and you keep working at it till you get the part off and back on.
So how
So
many
there's a
times did you
series,
try it?
there's a series of failures all the way through that operation.
I think like kids. Anybody have kids that are at a walking age now, just learning how to walk? Or
Grandkids, yeah.
So when you think about what a kid does is they crawl, right? And then they come up to maybe the footstool or a table or chair, and they grab that and they stand, and they take 2 steps and they fall. What do we do?
That again.
Oh man, you almost did. That was pretty fantastic. right? They failed and we reward them. We don't go, you idiot. Right? We have learned when they're real young, failure is okay. But as we start getting older, we're told failure is terrible. Instead of thinking that, Vince Lombardi said winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. He actually said winning isn't everything, but the will to win is everything. Neil DeRoche, the former manager, he said, winning, or what did he say about number two is a loser, second place is a loser. You've been told that failure is a terrible thing. Instead of thinking, hey, I might set a goal and I might fail. But what did I accomplish along the way? What did I gain? And it's just set me up to be successful in the future. So again, strength doesn't come from winning. Your struggles develop your strengths. When you go through hardships and decide not to surrender, that is a strength. Okay. So, like I said, so what do you got to offer that's any different? Well, again, I remember that the goals should be specific, measurable, attainable, and time conscious. If Lou Holtz walked through the door right now, anybody ever listen to Lou Holtz?
Screwy Louie.
Is that his nickname?
Screwy Louie.
He was he coached in Old Day, won national title, went to the Razorbacks, went to the Jets, finished his coaching career at South Carolina. But he's a great motivational speaker. He's 86 years old, but he carries with him all the time his bucket list. I've got him on 3 index cards, and he carries because he believes the goals should be frequently evaluated. You need to look at them. And last year, he crossed off at 86. Skydiving. Yeah, but I mean, the idea is it's frequently evaluated. Most people, when you have goals, you have them up here, or you write them down, you put them in a file cabinet, and you don't post them. And so what I have is for you guys, this sheet of paper. Everybody grab. You can have more of them. So what you want to do is, what's the goal? Is it specific? Is it measurable? Is it attainable? Is it realistic? And the time frame to when you want to have it done. And then is this a personal goal or a business goal? You can use it either way. So I'll give you an example. My goal was to reach 185 weight. That's specific, and I needed to lose 80 pounds. Look at my weight 2 years ago. That's me 2 years ago.
Good job.
I was 260 pounds. All right. So how do I measure it? Monthly weigh-ins, not this daily weigh-in stuff.
Yeah, that'll kill you.
That doesn't accomplish anything except discourage you. All right, but monthly weigh-ins, is it attainable? Yes, but I understand it's not easy. Yes, my body index weight says I should be at 179. I'll take 185. Okay, look at that. All right, the time frame, I said 3 years by the end of 2025. So I need to go, right now, I weighed myself this morning, my annual, my monthly, 198. Under the 200. Now, the reason I do this for you also is, one of the things the next lecture you'll find is, we need to share goals with other people, because they will help hold you accountable for it. This shouldn't be a secret. This isn't the Oprah book, the secret. This is things that you should tell people about and post it so you see it visually, whatever the goal is. So, like here, my goals might be to add 30 members to the club here. Is it specific? Yes. I'm going to measure by 10 new members every single month. Is it attainable? Yes. Is it a dream versus goal? Well, yes, it's a real goal. Okay, because it does remember the rule of active or passive. So it is one of those things. And when will I do that? By October 1st. See, again, most people set goals, they only do the T. They don't do the time bound. When I was younger, my dad was into Shackley. Anybody ever heard of Shackley? And I was going to get into multi-level marketing, and I was going to be a millionaire. I was going to make all this money. I didn't say by when. Right? So
Still working on it.
yeah, so that promotes inactivity because I didn't do it time bound. Because it's always like get around to it, I'll get around to it. I'm a procrastinator. Someday I'll fix that. All right. Or here, sign up one new fractional sales client. That's at $1,995 to be a fractional client for me, where I go into the company. I'm actually, half day or day in their office working with their sales team. Not only training them, but holding them accountable. My goal is to find that group of people that can't afford to hire a sales manager at $150,000, but he doesn't have time to run the sales team. He's running the back end of the business, the again, how do I measure? I actually get a contract in hand. Yes, yes, by September 30th, I need one. 3 of those, and that's pretty well sufficient, quite frankly. 3 of those with the club benefits and all the other things, I'm okay with the goals. Raise 70K for the Aerosignet for the club. I need to raise this money. I need to raise enough money so that we can send a check to Zenith for the airplane. Yes, with the right plan of action. Goals are of no value unless followed by a specific plan of action. That keeps them printing your head. Goals are of no value unless followed by a specific plan of action. So in that regard, here's a way you can do your plan of action. How many of you do your either weekly or daily to-do list? Goals. I mean, goal. Oh, by the way, let's go back to that as far as long-term, short-term goals. What is a long-term goal? How long time frame? What's a long-term?
I think anything over 90 days.
Okay, and it's out to what time?
No,
5 years, 3 years?
I usually don't do more than 2 years because you try to project
Absolutely,
out 5
Greg, and
years.
that's what I say the same thing, do more than 2 years.
Because you can't really project
circumstances
5 years.
change, and when some financial planner says, what do you want to do for 5 years? I don't know, I completely change, yeah, I want to be alive with maybe, but again, long-term goals should be from 90 days to 2 years. Short-term goals could be your daily goals and maybe a month or whatever. So most people, when I ask them, when I developed this in 1986, actually, I developed this one. Because I had my weekly sales meetings with my staff, and everybody go around the room telling what they're gonna do this week. And they would tell me the goal, but they wouldn't tell me how they were gonna achieve it. So when you look at this sheet that I've given you guys, what you wanna do is you wanna put down what the activity, what the goal is, but what are the tasks necessary that you have to do to achieve that goal? And this is a great thing to give to your employees for them to report at your weekly meetings. Because this will help hold them accountable to the task, the behaviors, not just setting the goal. And if somebody says, the sales guy was, well, my goal is to have 10 appointments this week. Okay, that's a good goal. What are the tasks you need to do to achieve that? What do you got to do that you can check off? And the idea of this sheet is you get to go home on Friday at 4:30 and have a guilt-free weekend if you check off the task. And that's why you tell my people, you get to go home and have a guilt-free weekend. I don't have to micromanage you. If on Monday you tell me what the goals are and the tasks you need to do to achieve them, and then Friday you've done it, you pulled yourself accountable to those, and you check them off, go ahead and go guilt-free weekend. If you didn't, what's your Saturday? I didn't do this, I didn't do that. So a lot of times when I had a staff, I had staff of 80 people who didn't have insurance industry. And the staff, going back to this group about the winners, losers, and at-leasters, I used to call them the parking lot lizards. I had my staff, my office on the second floor, and my staff would come in, we'd have a sales meeting on Monday, they'd get their leads, and supposedly get the hell out of my office and go make appointments and go sell. The unsuccessful reps look out my office and look down in the parking lot, and they're still talking down. It's almost like they're putting playing cards with baseball cards and trading them. I don't want to go to the motion. You want to go there? And the winners, they already left. They're gone. They're out of there. And the losers would associate with each other. Associate only with successful people. If you've got that person who's unsuccessful, get them out of your life. Don't. But the losers want to commiserate with that person. Because now they feel better, because at least I'm not bad like him. I'm not as bad as Joe, right? And I use that term, parking lot lizards, until I was reminded one time that that's a negative connotation for ladies of the evening at truck stops. Anyway, know that. I didn't know that. You better not use that anymore.
I heard a lot worse terms than that, sorry.
Parking lot lizards.
I don't spend too much time in
Parking
truck
lot-
stops.
truck stop.
Sandlot.
Yeah. So again, goals and evaluations followed by a specific plan of action. Again, what is the objective? What are the tasks necessary? What are the success criteria? How will you measure your success? What's the time frame you're going to put it into? And what resources do you need to help you be successful? And when you ask most people, what do you need? It's always the if. If so-and-so would do this for me, if only people would have money, if only, and I want you to remember something about the if. Unsuccessful people spend a lot of time externalizing the word if. If only he would do this, if only she would do that, if only the leads were better, if only we had a product that was cheaper, I'd get these good. If only we had a better product at a cheaper price, I could sell it. Well, what the hell we do for, right? We just put that on the internet and everybody would buy. The if is externalized by unsuccessful people. Successful people internalize it. If only I would do the task that I said I would do. If only I would hold myself accountable for my behavior. If only I would do it. So do you have that person in your company that you know of or independent friend who's always the it, who's always the least? Oh yeah. Well, you need to talk about, hey, the it is important. And you're gonna say it. But please try to internalize it instead of externalize it. Yes. And you'll be more successful, because that's the difference between successful and successful. Successful people are internalizing it and they're holding themselves accountable. Unsuccessful people always blaming it on somebody else. So again, the bell work here, the thing about bell work is basically what are the tasks necessary to reach the goal. We can talk about goal setting, and there's a lot of seminars on goal setting, but most of them don't do a thing about, yeah, goals are important, but what are the tasks and behaviors? Are you doing the behaviors? Go back to my very first slide about the airplane. The behaviors is what lifts us up. Are we doing the behaviors? And do you spend enough time on just tracking, what are the behaviors I need to do to be successful? Am I doing them? Am I checking them off? And I call it, and I call it a cookbook. If I gave you a recipe for an award-winning cake, I mean, it's the County Fair cake, it wins the award, and you follow that recipe, use the same quality ingredients, make it at the right temperature, the right altitude, you follow that recipe perfectly, should you not get the same results? Right? So what is your recipe on a weekly basis for success? Or do you have a recipe? And if you can check that off, and a good cook really checks off, follows the recipe to the end result. And most people don't do that. Most people just wing it. Get started with that. So I hope that these two sheets are something that you can take back to somebody else, some employee, or start it yourself. And start every week doing the weekly objectives, weekly goals, and the tasks necessary to reach them. And then couple that with what you're going to do, specific, measurable, tangible, to do a realistic expectations for what it is you want to accomplish.
So
All right, questions, statements, anything?
one of the things that I've found, in my sales history with this as well is one of the steps that's also missing by most sales organizations is historical analysis. Because if you don't know the tasks that you need to do to get to your goal, how do you arrive to that? So if I want to make $1 million, my average sales are $1,000 per unit. How many units do I have to get? How many sales calls do I have to make to get that amount of sales? And the only way to really devise that is actually doing constant post analysis and
And that's why most people
yeah.
work backwards. So
It's just
they're
do
saying,
math backwards.
I need to make 5,000 a week. All right, to make that, what's your average sale? Most sales guys will tell me, well, I need 3 sales a week. All right, to get 3 sales, how many people do you need to see that you actually do a presentation to? 5. All right, to get 5,
How many calls?
how many people do you need to ask? Hey, would it make sense for us to have a meeting? Oh, 10. All right, to be able to ask 10 people, because you tell me 5 are going to say no, but okay. 3, 5, 10. All right, to be able to ask 10 people, how many people do you need to approach? Okay, now to be able to approach 25 people a week, how many people do you have to have in your pipeline? Okay, and then that's where the marketing comes in. What are you doing to market yourself so every week you got 50 people that you can go after? And I call it the wheel of fortune, because if you think about a bicycle wheel, a wheel is only as strong as the number of spokes, right? If that only has 3 spokes, it's going to collapse and fall. So when I ask most salespeople, on a wheel, how many spokes do you have of activities to generate leads? And most of them, well, I'm on LinkedIn. Okay, good. What else you do? I make cold calls. Okay. I have referrals. Well, that's 3. What else are you doing? Are you going to networking events? Are you doing walk and talk? Are you playing Lost? The dumber you act, the more people want to help you. Women have known that for years. No, the dumber you act, so when you walk in, I used to give the sales guys, I say, okay, I'm going to give you a lead. I'm going to put you in a particular market area where you're going to go try and make an appointment with somebody. Don't go to that person you got at 10 o'clock appointment. Go right on the 3x5 card, that appointment. and then walk into the store next door and go, hey, do you know where this place is? I'm going there in 10 minutes to, 10. So they know you're not gonna try and sell them. Hey, do you know where this place is? Because if somebody walked in right now and asked for directions, wouldn't we stop and help them? But if somebody walked in right now, hey, I want to sell you something, like, get that out of here for a minute. So play lost. Go and close the leads. Don't go to this one, go to you and go to the other one and just say, hey, I'm lost. You know where this place is. Oh, they're right next door. And you actually do the Columbo. Hold the reference, what's on Columbo would actually talk, by the way, all right, by the way, they wanted some information on sales training, so you went through sales, you don't have to sell. Oh, yeah, that's Bob. Appreciate that. And your name? Janelle. Okay, thanks. And then I leave, and then later on I call, hey, Bob, I was with Janelle the other day, and she thinks that I should talk to you about sales. You know why she thinks that? Oh, you don't have the guts, discipline, vitality to do that? If you really have this goal that you're trying to achieve, and you really believe that your product or service, are you not leaving them in a better condition? So why wouldn't you do it? Most sales don't have the guts because why? Why do most people get involved in sales at all? Fear of rejection. So people might teach them that. Hey, I just created a good lead for you, and you're not willing to do that? Successful people are going to do what it takes to get in front of enough prospects. Unsuccessful people won't get in. They'll like, if only that prospect would have been willing. If only they gave me a better lead. If only they gave me a better product. Instead of thinking, if only I would have the discipline and vitality to try something and see how it works and have success with it. Know that I'm probably going to reject it a few times, but the playing lost is one of the best ways to get in this somebody. Because if you write that on a 3-block high card, you got to put on somebody. That's credibility right there. That's going to put a guy next door. And usually they're going to be sweeping out the store together. Hey, that's that one line. Oh yeah, you do. And you create this market on your own. But what's your wheel of fortune? Do you have enough activities? Because your wheel of fortune is your marketing that gets you enough leads. They could leave you the appointments and all the other things that were found. And most people don't have a systematic approach to end results. And that's what most self-employed people fail. And it's just like franchises. People buy these franchises and they didn't tell them, by the way, you gotta be a salesman.
That's true. Or handyman.
I get a kick out of those franchises when I go to these franchise seminars.
Yeah.
I didn't know it. I thought I was just be doing a franchise thing. I just thought I bought a job. I was downsized, right size, revenue, in corporate America when I lose my job. So I bought a franchise with my 401k.
It happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's speaking the
How
truth.
many realtors get into the business thinking, oh, that's going to be easy? And they're going to sell all their friends and family. And then when they run out of friends and family, they got nothing to do because they didn't do the activities and the behaviors to get in front of enough other people.
One of the things that working for a corporation, and I started again. It'd be great if you just duplicate everything that you're doing, that you've been successful at what you're doing. What you need to do is find people that you can and do. And someone said, it's me. I've learned through the years being a sponge, learning different ways and critiquing myself on what my clients need. And that's kind of one of the biggest struggles that I've had over the years is just how do I duplicate being able to have someone else be as successful, and it's not being prideful, but being as successful as I've been over the years to being able to do something. And my wife said something very key. She goes, "Here, remember the old adage? You can bring water to a point." People have to have that same motivation that I have. Not just successful, but truly wanting to help other people. Yeah, a few times you hear that, and my wife reminded me of the horse in the water. It's not everyone that we put in under, working for us, working with us, have that same desire or goal that we are such. So I appreciate this because this is a reminder
so I failed. As a matter of fact, when Jerry Lewis first fired me, August 3rd, 1992, everybody said, "Oh, you get into sales, you got the gift of gab and all that kind of stuff." And I said to Lord, my wife, I said, "I don't want to get sales. There's no security in sales." And she said, "What security have now? I got $204 unemployment runs out in 4 weeks." Right? So I started, yeah, I started thinking, all right, maybe I'll get into sales. But I started thinking about the name. And people, think about sales. People buy for their reasons, not yours. Right? Employees work for their reasons, but not yours. And so I heard an employer the other day tell the staff that, all right, I'm tired of getting my pay deducted because you guys aren't doing this and this and this. From now on, I'm going to start deducting it out of your pay. Now, what do you think that employees thought about that?
Oh, yeah.
We don't care about her. I care about my pocket. What if she had just said, hey, things have changed. We're going to have to start changing our compensation program that we reward you for achieving what you're supposed to, but you're also going to get penalized if you don't. And she let her part of it out of it. But most employers, what they don't do is they don't take an employee and sit down with them and say, hey, what are you here for? Why are you here? Because if the employee thinks that the goals are for you to achieve your dreams, like the sales goals, 100,000, you do 100,000 annualized volume, because that makes me get promoted, they aren't going to work as hard. But do we ever sit down with the employee and say, what do you want out of this job? Is it just to gain experience and go start your own franchise 3 years from now? And if that's the case, this is just a stepping stone. I'm okay with that because the next 3 years are going to help you get there. Are you helping them achieve their goals, or are they there to help you achieve yours? They should never ever see your side. They don't care about
see
it.
that side.
They
But
don't care
the
about
reality
it.
is,
They don't care about your benefits and features. All they care about is can you solve my problem.
another thing too,
Right.
right? The replication that you're talking about. I had a discussion with this with a bunch of other sales managers when I was with Rotec. One of the biggest things that we identified as a company was that they were in the habit of trying to tell salespeople what to think and what to do, instead of teaching people how to think and how to make decisions in the field. And so that's how you replicate, because there's no way to absolute pull wisdom from one person to another. But if I can teach you how to think about strategically on how to get into account, on how to think about what processes to take, then you can develop yourself in the moment.